Also out this week, Climax, which is the new film by Gaspar Noé. Gaspar Noé is a kind of agent provocateur of cinema who's done things like I Stand Alone and Irreversible, and he's somebody who sets out to provoke audiences in, you remember when Willem Dafoe came on the programme and he was talking about Antichrist, the Lars von Trier film, and we had a sort of... we had a debate about whether or not Lars von Trier was a provocateur, or whether, and what Willem Dafoe was saying was, look, Lars is very sincere. The shocks in Antichrist aren't provocative shocks. They're him wrestling with his inner demons and with depression and all that sort of stuff. Remember that? Okay. Well, there's really no debate when it comes to Gaspar, because in the case of Gaspar Noé, one of the teaser trailers for the film said, "You hated this film. You loathed that film. You despised this film. You really, really now." Try this, and then a picture of the director holding up a spiked drink with a demonic grin. So it's a film which from the very outside is saying this is what it is. It's provocative. It's meant to be. So the story is, it is allegedly inspired by a real life event of a dance troupe descending into a form of kind of collective horrendous spiked freak out. How much truth, if any, there is in the... I mean, it's a germ of an idea which has then been taken away. And like any of these things, I always remember at the beginning of Fargo, everything in this film is completely true. We've just changed the names. And for ages and ages, the Coens were insisting that it was a true story, but in a kind of playful... Anyway, so there is apparently a true story in the background, but it is very, very far in the background. It's set in the 90s. We see interviews with dancers, potential dancers who are going to be joining this troupe. They talk about their lives, their philosophies, their backgrounds, their ambitions. Would they like to tour to America? I mean, how do they feel about France? And they're asked, what would you do to get into this production? And the answer seems to be absolutely anything. Then these interviews are played out on an old TV. You remember you remember what TVs used to be like before TVs turned into cinema screens, when they were like that?
When you say like that, what you're doing is you're holding...
They're sort of squarish. What you and I think of what TVs used to look like, but nowadays everybody thinks TVs were always 16:9, but an old-fashioned TV.
Yeah, so it's like a square. You're like 18 inches by 18 inches.
Exactly, yeah. And on the shelf next to the television, it's just a whole stack of videotapes, which is Suspiria and Zuofsky's Possession and Sarlo and Shannon Andalou. So you go, okay, fine. So I know where this is going, and it's a Gaspar Noé. So then what happens is we cut to the school that the group are rehearsing in, and there is this extraordinary dance number, really, really great, brilliantly choreographed dance number. And the camera glides to and from and around and through the dancers and even over them. And it's really the beautiful camera moves done in a really, really long take, and captures the excitement and the energy of this dance. Then at the end of it, they go, God is with us, now let's party. However, God is not with us. Somebody has put something in the sangria, and the next thing is everyone starts to come apart at the seams. Things which are sort of harmonious discussions start to turn to acrimonious arguments. Things become verbally aggressive first and then physically aggressive, and the whole thing starts to kind of slowly descend into this hellish kind of, orgy of catastrophe. And as it does so, those elegant camera angles start to tilt and become off-kilter and become seasicky. And in fact, for most of the last movement of the film, the camera is upside down, so giving the impression that the revelers are actually hanging from the ceiling like vampire bats. I mean, so the whole thing. And
I think I'm going to find this very tiresome.
I don't think you're going to watch it. I'm describing it to you in some detail, because I think the chances of you watching this are non-existent. So there's a child wandering amid the party, and the minute you see a child, you think this is not going to end well. Everyone's demons come to the fore. There are sequences in it that evoke the sort of possessed writhing of Ken Russell's film, The Devils, particularly in the overhead shots. I said that thing about, Busby Berkeley Goes to Hell. There is a sequence which very specifically references the tunnel sequence from Zuofsky's Possession, because you don't put Possession in a video stack by accident. And the thing about it is this: it's hard for Noé to do anything that would shock, because he's done so much in terms of, pushing the boundaries of what's acceptable in mainstream cinema. And he's somebody who believes in that experiential overload. He is a kind of a cheerleader for extreme cinema. So in a way, you kind of go in thinking, oh, oh, Gaspar, come on. That said, the film did actually get under my skin. I did find myself thinking, I want this to end. I want this to end sooner rather than later, because it is starting to make me feel,
You say that's a good thing?
Well, it's what the film is trying to do is to depict a descent into chaotic madness, into sort of, hellish, labyrinthine appallingness. And at the same time as part of me sitting there thinking, oh, Gaspar, another part of me is thinking, no, but this is working. I mean, you're actually convincingly doing it. There's the booming sounds of Tainted Love banging on over there in the background. And I do think, if you're familiar with Noé's work, people walking down corridors, the blue lights, the silhouettes, the sensory overload, you get all that. But I think you also do get something more. I think the music and the dance brings a new sort of fresh step to Noé's old riff. So it's not anything you haven't seen before. I don't think it has any meaning beyond the immediate experience of watching it, which is that it's a film about a very singular descent into hell. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I have to say there are very few directors who could pull that off as well as Gaspar Noé.
And that concludes our discussion of Brexit for this afternoon. However, there's more on the way. So, this has been a Something Else production for BBC Radio 5 Live. Mark, what is your movie of the week? Don't say Gaspar Noé.
No, I think Little Stranger, actually.
That's the right answer.
Oh, good. Are we in accord?
I think so.